Well, hello all, and welcome back to the Purple Rain podcast. We're starting to see a trend here of news dropping after we finish a recording session. I kid you not. So, because this happened, with, when Vegas' GM got announced, it got announced literally not long after we'd finished recording, the episode on Detroit's GM getting announced. And then obviously last week we had a massive recording session on the Friday, got a lot done, including the GM announcements for Hamilton and Thursday. And I kid you not, as soon as we're downstairs, the news breaks that we've had another coaching firing. So it's like, whoa! So in case you haven't heard the news, Steve O'Rourke has mutually agreed to part ways with the Torrent. I am not surprised by this one bit. I mean, if you remember... Now, I can't remember if we did the expansion team's coaching announcements, if we did them separately or not. I know we did a separate episode with Chris Sparr, but I can't remember if we did the two expansion teams, were they in the same episode, or were they a separate episode? I can't remember. Anyway, we did say, this time last year, we didn't have that much high hopes for Steve O'Rourke, and we kind of thought he was the one that you need to keep an eye on at the time. Then, of course, Chris Sparr got announced, and as you know, the three of us just literally, at the time, roasted that hiring. And we kind of thought, oh, maybe Steve O'Rourke's now be doing the saving grace here, because now Chris Sparr doesn't do well, when the hammer's going to fall on. Yeah. Albeit, but that didn't take long to turn around. Those first, what was it, 4 weeks, 5 weeks of the season? Spot was back on you, Steve. Spot was back on you. But yeah, we never really had that much high hopes for him. We didn't really think he was going to fit well, and we did kind of think he was the one of the three that joined the league last year you need to keep an eye on, because I know he's going to last. And when I was watching Torrent games this season, whether it was for the Frost or other teams that they played, I didn't really have that much confidence in him behind the bench. He never really gave, at any point in the season, he never gave me any kind of confidence that he knew what he was doing behind the bench. No. And we've been saying, the key thing that we want to see from coaches is you need to have that experience in coaching women's hockey. Because it is so much different than coaching men's hockey. Because the game is different. And he beforehand had no experience coaching women's hockey. But at least he had prior head coach experience, unlike Chris Sparr. No, there you go. That's fair point. Fair point. But he never really knew what he was doing. He was a coach you couldn't really read. And I remember in the run up to the season, obviously Dr. George each week had one of the coaches on. And I think in his, he didn't really, look like somebody who knew what he was doing, or it wasn't really somebody who gave you confidence that this guy can lead an expansion team into their first season. Yeah. In fact, since you brought up Dr. George, that was when, I don't know about you, but that's when me and George kind of thought, oh, maybe Chris Sparr. Well, he made a really good, on that episode, he made a really good first impression. And I felt, oh, this is a guy who kind of knows what he's doing. Even though he hasn't really had a head coach role yet, he kind of understands the game. He at least has got an idea of what he wants to do, where he wants to go with the team. And he did really well. Like, I think we go into next season, there's going to be a lot of high expectations on Chris Sparr. He's going to have so much high expectations to try to match what he did last year. Because I think Boston going out in the playoffs was a shock. I think once it was kind of clear that Montreal was had us on the ropes, you kind of thought, okay, it should probably be a Montreal-Boston finals. And yet, Boston just couldn't they couldn't get game 2 in their belts. If they'd got game 2 in their belts, then this would have been a completely different series, or maybe got one or two games in Ottawa, maybe. Yeah, then it would have been an interesting series. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So he's got a lot of hard to say next year to try and match what he did last year. That team should have been league champions, but not taking anything away from Montreal. But Boston Car should have been league champions. Yeah, but would they then pick us? I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, but I just every time we saw it, and of course, obviously, we have got the best experience of this because obviously one of the 3 teams that we saw on our trip this year was Seattle. First game of the trip was against Seattle. Yeah, and so I kind of felt that was a bit too an easy game. Really? Yeah. I felt it was a bit too easy game because for the majority of it, we were in the driver's seat. We were in full control. Yeah. Seattle only really had spark when they got that goal, which took a bit of debate because it went to CSR. Yeah, it went to the goal that Seattle scored. I think it was on power play. It went to CSR, but none of us at Grand Casino Arena knew it went to CSR because the referees didn't make the call to say we're going to CSR. Now I remember, I think it was you, lady that said, "Oh, next time maybe tell us, ref." I did. She threw some of my sass at the referees. I did, yeah. But apart from that, and that was still with plenty of time left in the game, by the way. You know, can't make way for the third period. So there's still plenty of time to maybe go for another one and maybe go for the shutter. But I just didn't feel Seattle showed that much life in that game. They didn't show that much push. So I kind of thought, okay, you're making this a bit too easy for us. Yeah. You're making this a bit too easy for us to try and get the win. Yeah. Still a good game. But I just remember after that thinking, well, great, we got all under our belts because New York and Ottawa, they're not gonna make it easy. They did. Well, New York didn't. Ottawa. Yeah. I think if we flew back into Minneapolis from Denver, if you just say to us, you're gonna blow out Ottawa in that last game, I'm thinking, get away. Plus, Ottawa hadn't been to Minnesota since Game 4 of last year's World Cup finals. Yeah, that's the first time Ottawa had been back to Minnesota since, because obviously the other Frost home game with the Charge was in Chicago on the Takeover Tour. Yes, better. Yep. You just know they're gonna get a second chance next year. So, you just know. Yeah. I do not think the league is gonna want to give up on Chicago. So I could see maybe PWHL or maybe us again host Ottawa in Chicago. I could probably see that happening. I don't think they will give up on it. Anyway, but all about that. We're all about that for now. Yeah. So, is this a good thing for Seattle? You know, to me, I think it is because clearly they've realised it's not working. Need to make the change, and better to do it now rather than we do it like a mid-season thing. We've still yet to have it in this league. We've still yet to have somebody the coach get relieved during the season. Yeah, it's almost like we're doing mercy killings. Obviously, the Sirens made their change in the off season after the inaugural season 2024. And obviously, Boston had their change happen not long before the draft last year. Yeah, so we've kind of had mercy killing. Whenever we had to have coach change, it's normally happened after the season. It's not happened during the season like you get in the NHL. Which makes kind of nice, because it's always so messy in the NHL when someone gets fired halfway through a season and you guys come in, act the interim coach. They know they're not going to get far. Might not even still have the job by the end of the season. So, I think it's good to make the change during the off-season where you can then plan ahead rather than you do it during the season. But I think it's good. And I hope now Seattle can find someone who is more capable of doing the job. Because I mean, with New York, they need to make that coaching change. They probably didn't think it was a good idea at the time, but they kind of need that coaching change. Because I feel I have more confidence with Greg Fargo behind the bench for New York than the guy who did it in I forgot his name too. That's bad. That's bad. Yeah, but he only lasted one season. You could argue in that August season it wasn't good for New York, but I absolutely agree. But I've got more confidence with Greg Barker kind of that bench for New York than I have. Yeah, and as a fan, you need to have confidence with the guy who's behind the bench. I mean, like how Australia got so much confidence in Ken Clee. Yeah, you need to, especially in an ultra competitive league like this, you need to be able to say that you have confidence in either the guy or gal who's behind your bench. Yeah. So I think it's good that Seattle's recognised, okay, this hasn't worked. Yeah, let's make the change. Yeah. Okay, let's do this. Let's make the change now, and then hopefully it'll go. Because obviously, because things can only get better. Things can only get. I know Seattle had a terrible season this year. You didn't really perform where you always be performing in this league, but things can only get better. Yeah. Especially if there's a 12. It's now a 12-team league. So even if you come 8th again next year, well, it's not really last because there's 4 more teams below. Yeah. Well, like I could say, we didn't come last. Yes, but you still finished lower than you had in the previous 2 seasons because the first season you finished 6 out of 6, whereas this year you finished 7 out of 8. Not good. That's still not good in my eyes. You just came 1 from last. That's all. Anyway, yeah, and I feel like we've been saying, but we're going to when we do the report cards over the next couple of weeks. We've been saying how Seattle's roster didn't really gel. You couldn't really see that chemistry there, and it just wasn't working. So maybe this new coach could come in and change things around and try and get the lines to gel and get those combinations in order. You can then go on a bit of a 4-game, 5-game win streak, which Seattle never be able to do. Yeah. So who do you reckon is going to take over? Well, I know who I want to take over, but it's not going to happen. I'm still going to keep banging the drum for Jessica Campbell to join the PHL because I think she would be brilliant. I know she insists she wants to stay the AHL, but I just can't see the AHL giving a woman a head coaching role. I'm sorry, I know that's bad to say, but I just can't see it. The fact she got to be the assistant coach was a few years ago was brilliant. Absolutely is great way to show that you are progressing and you're making that next step. You're giving more women opportunity. But the ultimate next step there would be for somebody in the AHL to say, give a head coaching role to a woman. But yeah, I just think that Jessica Campbell would fit easily into the PHL. Obviously, she knows Seattle well, because obviously she's been with their AHL team, the Firebirds, did brilliant work there. Been with the Kraken for a few years now, not really had much luck there, but again, the Kraken I don't know what making them really. I don't know what making them really right now. The Kraken are a team that you just want to see have success, but it's just not working. Especially like this year where they had flashes of it. They had flashes. I think every team, apart from Calgary and Vancouver this season in the Pacific, it flirted with a postseason berth. Oh yeah. Apart from Vancouver and Calgary this year, everyone else in the Pacific was competitive, and at least one point, including Seattle, at one point did flirt with a playoff berth. Yeah. So, yeah. So, yeah. I think Jessica would fit easily in the PHL, but she's insisted she wants the AHL. Yeah, but the AHL, she's reached her ceiling, the AHL. Then, I just can't see. I'd love to be proven wrong, by the way, but I can't see any AHL team say, oh, let's give the head coaching role to a woman. I can't see them doing it. I'd love them to, but I can't see them doing it. So I kind of think Jessica Campbell has kind of reached her ceiling with where she could go, with the AHL. And if she wants to maybe be a head coach one day, her best chance is to come and coach in the PHL. There's going to be a lot of coaching positions needed season because we've got 3 of the 4 expansion teams need head coaches. Seattle now needs one, and TO needs one. So you've got plenty of options. You've got plenty of options available to you. The question is, what do you want to do? I wouldn't be surprised if she's still with the NHL next year. But I think this is somebody really. If I was Megan Tyler, I would be going right. I'd be targeting and making an offer she can't refuse. Yeah, so this is interesting. So we'll see what happens. Am I surprised that this has happened? No. And I think Seattle realised, this league is about to become a lot more super competitive than it already is. If we want to be up there, if we want to be what we want to be in the league, we're going to need to make this change. We're going to need to do it now, which is all the good. So I love how teams in PHL, when they recognise the problem, just literally just go and try and fix it. We saw that with New York when they made their coaching change, back in the summer 2024. We're seeing it now, South, 2 years later on. So I love how PHL teams, when they see it as a problem, they just act on it straight away and they don't let it fester like PWHL, so that's really good. But yeah, so he's gone. Yeah. Do we think this is the last week of maybe? Do you think he should have been given at least one more season, or he did have one more season on his contract? But I think no. I think he did what he could, but it was not working, and I think the best Pluto! A bit more to end the show, dear. I know. I just couldn't see a way he could stay. I mean, I lost confidence with him early on, and I think even when we were there, we could see that this team it's just not working. And as much as he didn't want them to be in the basement, they ended up in the basement. And they didn't even get the first overall draft pick. Nope. That's good because that's how the goal pads is like. The goal pad is designed to reward the teams who stay competitive after elimination. And Seattle, unfortunately, just didn't. I'm afraid. Yeah, I honestly, I think this is the best bit Seattle can do, and hopefully you can go in for a fresh start. And yeah, and of course, when we get that announcement, we do find out who Seattle has chosen as their new coach. We, of course, will come back and report it to you, and hopefully it'll be someone who A, knows women's hockey, and B, is someone to give confidence behind the bench. Yeah, we'll see. But thanks for all joining us today, as always. Until next time, take care, guys, and look at